All right. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. First of all, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Look forward to having another productive meeting today. As usual, I know there's several things on our docket, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask for a review, obviously, of the minutes, and if there's somebody who'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. All right, is there a second? Second. It's been motion seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. Minutes are approved. We're going to move forward on to the next item, which is related to the Friends of Bruce Watkins, who are going to give us an annual report.
Yes, Commissioners, we have with us today Mr. Sonny Gibson, who is president of the Friends of Bruce Watkins Cultural Heritage Center, and along with him is the director of the facility, Jesse Barnes, and of course Mark Bowen, who's our director of community services. And so we look forward to what these gentlemen have to share with us this afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
If I can do the honors of introducing Mr. Sonny Gibson, who is the president of the Friends of Bruce Watkins Cultural Heritage Center, and of course, Mr. Jesse Barnes, who is the executive director of the wonderful Bruce Watkins Cultural Heritage Center. And just as a brief bit of history, the Parks and Recreation Department entered into an agreement more recently in 2008 with the Friends of Bruce Watkins to assist us in providing and adding capacity to the programs and services at the Bruce Watkins Cultural Heritage Center. I think almost to the month. Mr. Barnes has been here about a year? Yes, sir. About a year. So he oversees the facility and works directly with the Friends and the president here, Mr. Gibson, to help facilitate the kinds of programs and activities that that wonderful institution provides. So with that, according to the MOU, every year the Friends come before the board and kind of give a summary, give a report as to all of the things that they have accomplished over the year. And today is that day, and Mr. Gibson is here to provide that summary. I mean, Mr. Barnes is here to answer any other questions. I think there are some exhibits that are just went up. He'll share that information with you. And then any other questions that you guys may have, we're here to answer those.
Great. Thank you.
Gibson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate this opportunity to have the privilege to address the commissioners as it relates to Bruce R. Watkins Culture Center. In our annual report that was submitted, if there's anything that's not understood, I will be more than glad to have this opportunity to explain the contents of the report. I think the Bruce R. Watkins Culture Center is a wonderful center. It is one of the most, how do I say this? Half the community don't even know the center exists. It's because of our lack of the appropriate PR financial support to let the mission of the center get out there. We do a good job, but still we get people who come into the center, specifically those new in the city. There is not enough information available other than the center to let people know that we are out there. The center is, I've been on the board since its existence and been serving in the capacity of the president for the past year. Those comments that Mr. Bolden made was very wonderful. We appreciate him and his assistance that he provides to the center. However, a center of that magnitude, we exist with only 2 staff people, and it is very difficult, even though the staff does not give opposition to the time that they must put in to keep the center open. It's very difficult to have a center, state-of-the-art center like Bruce R. Watkins Culture Center with only 2 staff people. Now, I don't know how the city identified through their human resources procedure a secretary receptionist. We're absent of that, and I'm telling you that that's needed, very much needed. If you would look in our annual report, we do, as I talked with your director about a week or so ago, we do generate revenue, and we do give revenue that we generate to the Parks Department. But it's real difficult for me as the president. I have no contract, no agreement through which these monies are transferred. I would like to see that occur, so we will know specifically what the arrangement is. So beyond that, I think the center is doing a wonderful job. We were fortunate enough to get a director, I know you'd been there a year, who has done a magnificent job. And so that's the extent of my comments. If you have any, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Are there any comments for Mr. Gibson? Any questions of him? Or of Mr. Barnes? Yeah, great, please do.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I have been here a year. Thank you, Mr. Gibson, and thank you, Mr. Boland. We are excited because this month is African American History Month, and we have actually installed a new exhibit on the first African American Academy Award winner, who was a Midwest native, Hattie McDaniel. And it's an extensive look at her life and how films really, art kind of imitates life. And so it's a wonderful exhibit with artifacts and different information, and talks about the historical perspectives, everything from the Civil War to actually after World War II. We also are fortunate to have the actual, some of the actual gowns from the Supremes, the Motown Supremes, the legendary Supremes. We have those, and they're on display as well as our permanent exhibit. So those are two of the exciting things that we have actually occurring at Bruce R. Watkins. Again, I thank you for this privilege. I am happy that I'm actually celebrating my anniversary of being here. The city has been fantastic, and so has the Parks Board, in supporting exhibitions and actually being visible and supportive, as well as the Friends. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen.
Okay, moving forward, the next item of business is resolution number 29144.
Yes, Commissioner, this is a facility lease agreement concessions with the New Belgium Brewing Company for an event called Clips of Faith. This is the 2012 version, and scheduled to occur down on the Tice Mall. You have a memo in your packet from Shannon Dooley, and we recommend approval, and Shannon is here if you have any questions.
Okay, great. Hello.
Hello. One-day event, they're in their third year. Kansas City has always proved to be one, they do it all over the country, about 13 other cities. And Kansas City has always proved to be one of their most successful as far as money raised and attendance. Last year they had 800, and they raised $6,700 for the Missouri Bicycle and Pedestrian Foundation. So it's a great event. It's free.
What is Clips of Faith? What is it having to do with
Yeah, it's
bicycle clips?
they have amateur film artists submit films.
Oh, hello, all right.
Yes, and then they show these films, the winners, and then, of course, there's the beer.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Is the motion seconded? Any further comments? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 29145.
Yes, Commissioners, another item that Shannon's bringing to you today for the 20th Annual Shakespeare Festival, which occurs over in South Point Park, long-term tradition in Kansas City.
Yes.
And it's a concession agreement for you for the upcoming season. And we recommend approval, and I'm sure Shannon would give you some
Yes.
answers to
Well,
questions.
we're going to turn the
Introduce-
floor over to
Yes.
Sydney Garrett, because this is the 20th year,
Yes, it is.
so we need to build this up,
Very
and I'm
much so.
sure she can do that far better.
Okay, great. Very good.
Well, thank you. I'll be happy to. Good afternoon,
Good
Commissioners
afternoon.
and everyone. Thank you all so much for having us. I am Sydney Garrett. I'm the Artistic Director of the festival. With me today is Mr. Steve Chick, who is our immediate past president, but I keep him working. You never retire from our board. We are grateful to come before you today. I just want you to know from our point of view, working with Parks and Rec on all levels is a absolute delight. We feel incredibly fortunate in this partnership. It's a long-term partnership that began long before I was involved with this festival, thanks to our founder, Marilyn Strauss, and Mark McHenry, and the late and much beloved
Terry Dobson.
Mr. Dobbs. I loved Mr. Dobbs. And Steve Lampone is a great support to us as well. We actually, one of our guys who works in South Moreland Park is named DeRowan, and we like to say mowing with DeRowan. We have a bumper sticker. So we like Parks and Rec so much on all levels. Last year, you may be aware that we had a Save the Festival campaign, and that would give one pause. It certainly gave us some pause. And I do not want to be on TV looking like this anymore. And fortunately, I don't anticipate having to do that because our community stepped forward and helped us to raise $100,000 to enable us to do our 19th season and enabled us to end the year financially sound, which we are very happy about. We have a $50,000 matching grant to allow us to increase our programming this year to 2 shows. In rotating rep for 4 weeks, we're doing Antony and Cleopatra, which we've never done before, and everyone's favorite, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So we anticipate serving, I hope we serve about 35,000 people this year with all of our programs. We had increases last year, 5,100 more people in the park, 10% increase in our camp participation in the summer, and we also raised about $30,000 more in the park through sales and additional donations. So, well, let me tell you, from $5 to $25,000, it came in like a tidal wave, and we wrote it, and it was beautiful. It was just, I spent the whole summer doing this. I was so grateful. So we are really excited to present this season and be in gorgeous Southmoreland Park, which we love. Questions I can answer?
Congratulations on 20
Thank you.
years. That's
Yes,
fabulous.
I know.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you. I started when I was 1, so it's a big year for me, too.
It is.
Thank you all. I hope to see you all there. And if you're there, please give me a shout out.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The resolution passes. On to resolution number 29146.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a change order number 1, with Lease and Sons for some curb and sidewalk work at a couple different locations throughout the city. Would recommend approval of this change order. If you have any questions, Travis is here to answer.
Any questions of Travis?
Yeah, I would have one question.
Yes.
When we're doing curb and sidewalk, have we coordinated with water services and other utilities to make sure that we don't do something and then somebody comes in a little later and tears it up and we have to redo it again?
Yes, and actually, we go beyond that. We also coordinate with Public Works and also with the folks in the Green Impact Zone, too, to make sure that we're not doubling up on any of those efforts.
That's what I was
So-
getting at right there. Okay, very good.
Very good. Okay. Now that you have your question answered, I assume you would like to sort of motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Move forward, resolution number 29147.
Yes, Commissioners, this is another change order. This one is number 3 with Titan Construction Company, and this is the work over at 9th and Van Brunt. Got a memo from Travis that kind of spells out the details. The key to this is securing the necessary resources to put the concession restroom building back into this project. And of course, this is where we're got the new soccer fields being built,
Yes.
the lighted soccer fields with the synthetic turf. I think we had a change order here a while back on that, and also the amphitheater in the parking lot, all to improve that 12-acre site at 9th and Van Brunt. I would recommend approval of this change order, and again, if you have any more technical questions, Travis can answer those.
Any questions of Travis on the project? Oh. Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Is any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. The resolution passes. On to resolution number 29148.
Yes, Commissioners, amendment number 1 for work under grounds maintenance services on Ward Parkway. This is a long section of Ward Parkway from Roanoke Parkway on down to Warrenville Road. The contract with Lotus Lawn Care and Services, doing business as Molon. You have a memo from Forrest Decker that spells out the scope of work involved, and Forrest is here if you have any questions.
Any questions?
I'll have one. Is this
Yes.
coming out of this year's budget or potential future budget?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Yeah, this is a portion of it is coming out of this year's budget. So we do have private funding that pays for enhanced maintenance on this stretch as well.
Okay.
So,
Very good. Great. Was that part of the gift we received at the last meeting? Okay.
yes,
Very
it
good.
is.
Thank you very much. All right, is there any other questions for us? Very good. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 29149.
Yes, Commissioner, this is a license agreement with Missouri Highway Transportation Department for a section of the Blue River Trail at Bannister. This is a section of the trail that actually goes underneath their right-of-way. So in order to allow for that to take place, we entered into an agreement with them for the construction of that trail to take place. That's the scope of the work involved. Again, Travis is here if you have any questions.
Any questions on this? All right, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. On to the resolution number 29150, the acceptance of gifts and contributions.
Yeah, one gift, Leon Stapleton, $200 gift to the Enshriners Memorial Fund.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve the acceptance of the gifts?
Move to approve.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes.
Major construction. Travis.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Have updates on three projects that we're working with Capital Project Office on, and these are contracts. Some are design contracts, some are construction contracts. One that we had talked about a little bit earlier was the Churchill Parkway project. The bid opening was back on January 24th, and it's taken Rod Mocker, the apparent low bidder, a little bit of time to work things out with the HR department there as far as getting in compliance, showing action plan for how they're going to meet their goals and that sort of thing. All that's been worked out at this point, and talking with Chad just a little bit ago, they look like they're on schedule for issuing a notice to proceed in about 6 weeks on that project. So that'll give them time to get the bonds together, get their insurance together, and that sort of thing. So getting excited about that project. At the Transportation Infrastructure Committee on Thursday of this week, we'll have a $120,000 change order going before that committee for Cook Flat and Strobel for their design work on both Maple Woods Parkway and Shoal Creek Parkway. And this is to add in the section from Harrison over to Woodland, which is also Maple Woods Parkway, and then Maple Woods Parkway from that location down to 96th Street. And again, that was for time and funds. The amount of that change order was $121,500. So the third contract that notice to proceed was issued last week was to HDR on the Swope and Meyer interchange, and that one was around $200,000 for that, and that's to study that interchange as far as what's the best fit up there, whether it's a roundabout or a traditional type interchange. So, like I said, that notice to proceed was issued last week, Monday.
Great.
So.
Great. Thank you, Travis, for the update.
Next one, Heidi, marketing.
Good afternoon. I just have a few updates from my submitted report. Our Parks user survey is still out there. People are still completing it. It will be up on our website and available to take online through the 15th of this month. We are up to 459 completed surveys.
Have we done any better with getting any people under the age of 30 to take the survey?
It's about 5% of the participants are between 20 and 29 years old. It's better.
Well, thank you for your help
Yes,
on
I
it.
appreciate that effort. The 2011 year in review, which you saw a really early draft on a couple meetings ago, is at the printer, and so I'll have the final copies for you at the next meeting. I am pleased to announce that the winning name for the Longview Aquatic Center is the Bay Aquatic Center. As you know, we did an online poll. We also promoted it through the Jackson County Advocate for people to choose one of three names, and it was very close, within 2 votes. So those of you who did not vote really could have made a difference. But the winning vote is the Bay, and with H2O Zone closely behind. So we will begin branding that facility and starting the marketing on it now that we do have a name. It will open, of course, on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and we're planning a big opening for that as well. Couple of other things that we have, the St. Patrick's Day parades are coming up. We always have a float in each of them. There's the Brookside Warm-Up Parade, as well as the General Downtown Parade. A lot of fun. Please let me or Shannon know if you and your friends or family would like to ride on any of the floats. The Brookside Parade is on the Saturday, beginning at 2 o'clock, and I believe the General Parade is on the following Saturday this year. I think starts around 11. So we can get you all the details if you want to be a part of that. And they have a couple more or new dedications to add to your calendar. I'm not sure if they've made it on there yet, but I just want to tell you about them. The groundbreaking for the 169 highway is March the 12th, which is a Monday at 10 a.m. And we're working with MoDOT and Councilman Russ Johnson's office on presenting that. And then it's Monday, March the 12th.
12th? It's on for the 19th.
Is it on there on the 19th?
It's on there for the 19th.
Okay, well, scooch it up a week, please. And then we have just added the dedication for the Spring Valley Park and Cruise Park renovations that we have completed over the past year, and that will be on Saturday, May the 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're working with the association in that area, that part of town. What is it? Is that Key Coalition?
Key Coalition.
Key Coalition, yes. And they'll be presenting a Spring Valley Park fun run walk that morning, so we're going to kind of kick off the walk with the ribbon cutting. That's all I have.
Hey, Heidi, can you tell me what marketing we've done so far of the schedule change for the youth forum that we're doing it?
Well, Mark and I just confirmed it, that it's actually is going to take place on Wednesday at Brush Creek. I'm going to start that now. I'm going to get out a news release, put it up on Facebook.
You said Wednesday? February
I'm sorry,
11th?
Saturday, excuse me. Yes, that it is this coming Saturday, the 11th. And I'll send out a news release, I'll put it up on Facebook, put it on Engage KC, we'll get it up on our website.
Great. Thank you. Is there any other questions about Heidi at this time?
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Heidi.
The next item, Commissioners, is we've been giving some thought to going through the process of putting the historic part of the Park and Boulevard system on the National Register. Something we've talked about over time, we've just never taken the step forward to do that. Denise has put together a request for qualifications to hire an individual firm that does this kind of work, and we've got a draft. We haven't done anything with it right now, and we've kind of been talking among ourselves. There's been interest, like I said, in the past on this. To give you an example, of course, you know, the memorial initially was on the National Register of Historic Places, and then it went to National Landmark status. We're probably not striving to that. We have some individual buildings on the National Register, such as the Black Archives headquarters over at 17th and Woodland. That was our old main facility. Went through the process there to get state tax credits. That's why we did that process. This is something that has been done in other cities. The best examples out there are Central Park, and of course in New York, that's on the National Register. If you're familiar with the Emerald Necklace in Boston, which is the Boston Gardens and the Boston Commons, that's on the National Register. Missouri Botanical Garden in St. Louis, Balboa Park in San Diego are some other examples. It's a process you go through, which is a lot of documentation and justification. It's handled initially through the Landmarks Commission, then it goes to the State Office of Historic Preservation, then ultimately goes to the National Park Service for consideration. So it's information collection and data, and professionals do things of this nature. And we think in talking to folks that it's probably would be accepted. And it's the older part of the system. We're not talking about the entire system, of course. It's pretty much from the river down to probably either 47th Street or maybe even as far south. 75th? Okay. So the river to 75th Street, which includes Swell Park. All that stuff that occurred back in the, you know, the early part of the what, from about 1900 to 1920s, I think it was. So anyway, something we're thinking about doing.
Okay.
We just wanted to mention it to you.
Exciting.
And any questions?
With things like the water tower that we talked about earlier?
Well, that would, yeah, I guess that's at 77th
That's at 70,
Street.
yeah. That's 70, yeah.
Yeah, it's south of 75th Street.
South 70.
But it would get pulled into something like that. I mean, technically, I mean, we're looking at the landscaping components that we're looking at for the most part. But it's something worth giving some thought to.
Has it worked out well for those other places you mentioned? Central
Well, I
Park
think
and
so. I mean, it's,
Steve
you know, it's, you kind of ask why. One is a little bit of just the fact that you have a system that's been so designated. I mean, it's a little bit of a pride and interest and stuff.
Oh, sure.
So I think there's a value in that. It's got some great marketing, PR opportunities associated with it. In some cases, it can open the door to some funding. There's not money just sitting there, but it did work for us at the Black Archives building. So there's a success story. It definitely worked for us at Liberty Memorial. And those are buildings, of course. So I think it's got a lot of positives. Sometimes people would ask, why not do it? Well, it takes a little time and money to do it, of course. But once you're designated, it really kind of helps protect your system, too. So if you get some encroachments, it's kind of a number, say, hey, well, you know, this is something that's got to go through the federal process now.
Is there any sort of limitations, I mean, just in terms of, obviously, when you designate something like this, that, you know, to sort of get something changed down the road, I mean, I think of sort of neighborhoods that get that sort of designation, and you just want to change out windows and, sort of build a house in it or something.
It tends to tighten up the restrictions, yes, it does, and that sometimes could be a little challenging, but I think the benefits outweigh the negatives.
Okay.
So,
Interesting idea.
Yeah, thank you.
the last item on here is, I'm going to pass this down, and I'm going to ask Steve to talk about it. This is an award we got last week from the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission. Steve?
Sure. We did last Friday receive this, one of the annual awards, and this one is for special recognition. It was given to the department based on our involvement for many years now with allowing or providing work sites for those individuals who are incarcerated, or in lieu of being incarcerated, they can come and provide service hours for Parks and Recreation. We talked a few minutes ago about the budget. You know, what we received last year, we conservatively put an estimate of $250,000 worth of time from these individuals who chose to, you know, serve in the parks rather than go to jail, basically. And I know Forrest can tell you that, you know, we use these individuals every day in one district or another in the city. And they, you know, they've worked out for the most part very, very well. In fact, I'm not sure what we do if we didn't have some of these individuals assigned to the department. We work through the municipal courts, the judges. I know several of the judges were there last Friday. But it's an exceptional program. I know Denise has been involved with it pretty heavily, too, in the last few years. So, again, as the memo says, we consider this to be one of our most valuable partnerships.
Very good.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, congrats to the department.
I wanted to mention one more thing. We have been involved in a couple different committees related to the All-Star Game. We've heard about that a lot now throughout the city, and there's a general coordinating committee that's working on this, led by Kamiko Gilmore from the city manager's office and Jay Hodges from the mayor's office. And in the subcommittees, there's one that deals with transportation that we're not directly involved with. That's mainly coming from the Metropolitan Transportation Association, the folks at KCI. We are involved in an infrastructure committee, which is trying to, you know, improve the city's infrastructure, primarily in roads and bridges and things like that. We're also involved in a sign committee. There'll be signs and banners throughout the city that we're involved in that. And then Heidi's involved in the marketing committee, along with Dennis from corporate communications to, you know, kind of get the word out from the PR perspective. Steve and Mark have been involved working with the Boys and Girls Clubs with the RBI program. There's going to be some RBI games, Satchel Paige Stadium, 43rd and Cleveland, on Art Ketterman. So they're involved in that. And then another committee that Heidi's involved in is what they call the Citywide Committee. The city hired O'Neill Marketing in Public Relations, which of course is Pat O'Neill and his daughter Kelly. They're involved in a lot of the special events, concerts, things like that. You know, kind of things that are kind of beyond baseball, basically, trying to create a lot of momentum in the city. So these committees are made on a regular basis, and then the overall committee gathers and kind of summarizes this. So a lot of details, but I think everybody's pretty pumped about it. And of course, I know it's in the message from the manager and probably subsequently from the mayor about you know, putting our best foot forward. I know you as individuals have spoken on that more than one occasion. This is that first week in July we want the city to shine.
We would agree.
Okay.
Great. Thank you all for your efforts on those committees. Appreciate it. In terms of public hearing, does it appear we have anybody signed up for today? I know we're also going to talk. We talked a little bit about the calendar. Are there other things you want to sort of go quickly over the calendar?
Yeah, probably just a couple things. We have the next meeting of the Platte County Partners, which is tomorrow, up at Zona Rosa, working with our partners in Platte County on parks issues. And the next budget hearing is this Saturday over at, here, we're hosting that one.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, I want to make sure we have coverage from the commissioners at that next meeting. Unfortunately, I cannot be there, but which of us?
Next Parks Board?
It's actually the budget hearing meeting on the 11th, on Saturday. At
I
Southeast
can't.
Community Center.
Yeah, I cannot do that.
For the 5th?
Can't do it either.
Yeah, for the 5th of
I'll be
this-
there.
Okay, you'll be there?
Yeah.
I can't make it either. I believe on the 3rd, I can be on the 3rd as well as on the,
I plan on being there on the 6th and the 29th.
yeah, I think I was going to be able to do that. I just want to make sure that we have representation at all these sort of meetings. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mark, would you pass on what we had talked about earlier about comments you received at our...
Yeah, I had a few comments from folks that were there, and there again, thanks for being there on Saturday. I think your presence is very important at those meetings, as indicated from the chair of the committee, of course, Jan Markison, and from the mayors and others. But I did have a few comments from folks that I saw since Saturday that says, we're glad to see the commissioners there. A little surprised they didn't say anything, which means you would have an opportunity to stand to the mic and say something.
Okay.
And it's strictly your call, but I do share that with you because I did hear from a few folks.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
will you talk to everybody about the Generation Rap show we did and the calls that you received after the program, please?
Yes, we did a show on KPRS Generation Rap last Saturday. Hanero from the mayor's office, along with Roosevelt Lyons, myself, Commissioner Bryant, Major Rose from the police department, all answered questions relative to youth programming. There were several calls that came in to ask questions about what our intentions were and what we plan to do for this coming summer. And from that, we're going to follow up with a focus group this Saturday, 9 o'clock at the Brush Creek Community Center, to talk a little bit more to young people about what it is they would like the city and others to do for this summer in terms of some kind of options, some kind of activities that they can get involved with. After Saturday, well, actually Saturday, I received several calls thanking us for going on the radio, talking about, our intentions and our desires to allow options or provide options for young people this summer. And some questions were not just interested in this summer. What is it that the city will do and look to do year-round? I assured those individuals, as we did on air, that it's not just the city's responsibility, that there are other private organizations, there are other church organizations that need to be at the table to talk about how we pull resources together to make sure that young people have options for participation, options for things to do this summer and year-round. So I think overall, and you'd be surprised, I mean, we got several calls that morning, and this was 8 o'clock. And some would think that young people particularly may not be up, but a lot of calls from young people, a lot of calls from parents as well, asking that very question, what is it that we look to do to embrace young people for this summer and really, again, year-round. So we're hoping that this Saturday we'll have a lot of people at Brush Creek Community Center. I know there's a couple of groups that have committed to coming and bringing young people down to fill out a survey about what it is they would like to see and do. And I don't have that survey with me, Commissioner Bryan, and I guess you don't either, but we do have a survey. They'll be going through that survey this Saturday and hopefully come up with some real positive, constructive, safe environments for young people to engage themselves in, other than places like the Plaza or the Westport, or places that perhaps might cause challenges for others.
And I guess the major takeaway from the call-ins and the conversations that we had with the Generation Rap students is that they're not aware of the programs that we already do offer. A lot of their suggestions are things that we already have going on at our community centers. So, the thought was to roll into the survey, into the forum, questions to the kids to ask them how best to reach them to disseminate this information to them.
Yeah, and the young people from the Generation Rap, they're like juniors and seniors throughout the metropolitan area from various schools, Lee Summit, Raytown, Kansas City School District. They embraced what we were doing to the extent that they said if we sent them information, they would talk about those programs on air as well. So that provides us another outlet for getting information out to young people about what the city's looking to do and what's happening in Kansas City regarding young people.
That's fantastic. Yes. Glad that this work is continuing, and there's going to be some additional, meetings and conversations going on even further, and that's great. I'm glad we're able to be a part of that and help lead the charge on all that work.
And we are.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
I wanted to mention one other event that we want to make sure you're able to attend, and that's a budget hearing that's coming up on the 23rd of this month. That's Thursday. We just became aware this morning from the manager's office that the budget hearing will be held sometime between 10 and 2. I mean, it'll be about 5 presentations in that 4-hour block of time. And we'll have a slot on the 23rd. And this is the opportunity for the Park Board to appear before the City Council committee as a whole. They're again chaired by Councilman Markison, but more than likely all the members of the City Council and the Mayor will be in attendance to talk about our budget. And that's on the 23rd of this month. Okay, that's it.
Okay, great. I believe we're going to go into closed session.
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
And we need to sort of do roll call one by one. And
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, let's see.
Do we need to make a formal motion to go into closed session? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session under RS Revised Statute Missouri Section 610-02.